Child support in Alabama is calculated according to a formula that's adjusted every several years based on cost of living. So both parties will have to submit their gross income before taxes, before any deductions at all. And whoever carries the health insurance will have to submit the cost of that just for what portion is for the children. And then if there is any work-related childcare, that also goes into the formula. Those four things are the main things that are entered in, and a number comes out that the non-custodial parent is going to pay to the custodial parent. Now, there can be deviations to that number for good reasons. For instance, one parent may have to travel a lot to see the children, and that's going to be a cost to them. One parent may agree to cover the cost of private school tuition for the children, and so you might deviate on the child support as consideration for that. If you deviate from it, you have to state in the agreement why you're deviating from it, or the judge has to state why they are ordering a deviation from it. The other thing is, if income is not clear-cut, then you've got to be able to show what somebody's average income has been, usually over the last 3 years, to establish what child support should be. Just recently, we changed over to having two different sets of guidelines. So there are traditional child support guidelines where there's a custodial parent and a visiting parent. And then there are guidelines for if the parents have what is called true joint custody. Now, those are very different. I've had cases where one parent pays the other parent $50 a month or something because their incomes are so close. You're still required to submit those forms and pay child support. You cannot waive child support in Alabama. You have to have good reasons not to have it in place, and the judge can reject those reasons if they want to. Child support is the right of the child, and it's there to support the child. There is a subset of child support in Alabama where it is possible to order private school tuition. You have to state specific reasons why you're ordering that as well, or why you're agreeing to it. It used to be that you could ask for what is called post-minority child support, where you could ask that college tuition be paid. That is no longer ordered in Alabama, but parents can still agree to it, and it will be enforceable if they agree to it. If you have a child who has a disability and is going to require child support past the age of 19, you need to be sure to talk with us before that child reaches the age of 19, because they may be eligible for a special type of post-minority support. Child support in Alabama can be modified anytime there's a change in circumstances. There is a presumption that if child support is going to change by more than 10% one way or the other, then the court should modify it. If it's going to be less than that, then it's so nominal that it's usually not modified. But if your income changes or your spouse's income changes, you need to file a motion to modify as soon as you think that it is necessary that child support is modified. Because here's the thing. If you don't file a motion to modify, you can never go back and change that child support as time ticks by. I have a client who lost his job a year ago and did not file a motion to modify child support, and he's supposed to pay over $1,000 a month. We finally got him a motion to modify filed, but in the meantime, every single month of child support that passes by and goes unpaid is a judgment against him that cannot be changed. And guess what? Those judges accrue interest. Now, going forward from the date we filed on, the judge can go to that date and modify the child support. You can't just go and quit your job, though, and then ask for a reduction in child support. It doesn't work that way. The court can do something called imputing income, where they say, you're capable of earning this amount, and we're going to pretend like you're still earning this amount, and we're going to make you pay the same amount of child support. But if you're going to modify it, you have to act sooner than later if you actually want to make a change. If you miss a child support payment, you need to be aware that it is a collectible judgment against you as soon as the last day of that month passes. So if your child support for January is not paid by January 31st, then all of a sudden you have a judgment for that amount and your paycheck can be garnished for that amount. Now, for that reason, I always recommend that my clients have a wage withholding order where it automatically comes out of the person's paycheck and it is paid through the state system because they keep up with the amount that is paid and when. So there can't ever be a dispute about missed payments. If you do miss a payment, you need to pay it as soon as possible to avoid garnishment proceedings, interest rates. It's basically like having a credit card because that interest is going to accrue against you every single month. If it gets far enough behind, a judge can put you in jail for missing child support, and they will. If you have a child support order and you're not getting paid, you have several options. First of all, the law makes it really easy to garnish somebody's wages or bank account without having to go back to court because as soon as child support is missed, you're eligible to garnish that month of child support. If somebody continually and habitually does not pay child support, then you're going to want to go back to court probably and ask that they be held in contempt. If you do that, the court can hold them in contempt and usually say they have to come current, and if they do it again, they may throw them in jail. There's always the option of jail time. If somebody is found in contempt, you can always ask that your attorney's fees be reimbursed. Sometimes it's really hard to collect child support no matter what, especially if your spouse lives in a different state. And if that's the case, or if you need some additional assistance, there are agencies in Alabama where you can open a case and they can help us collect child support for you. They can open a case on your behalf and do things like suspend somebody's license or passport. They can seize a tax refund. They can run a database for the entire country and see where somebody is employed and then usually work with that state. So, child support is kind of a non negotiable big deal. And we don't mess around, and neither does the state. And so, if you need help collecting child support, we have lots of avenues we can take.